Hello, welcome to this video on scriptable objects. So in this video we're going to define what scriptable objects are, and we will actually define them in our code. We'll create them and we will start using them. So first of all, what's the point of scriptable objects? Well, let's see with an example here. So let's say, for example, we want all the coin -5, all these ones that are worth 5 points. We want all those ones to play these 3 audio clips: bonus points, coin, and coin collect. And we want all the coin 10s to play the other 3. So let's go delete these 3. There we go. So the coin 10s will play these 3, and the coin 5s will play the other 3, wherever that one was, these 3 here. Well, that's a lot of specifying to do. If I go into my prefab, right, that's a lot of different configurations I have to remember as I'm adding these into the prefab, even if it is a prefab and I'm doing it in prefab mode so that it's saved across it's kind of copied across the different coin 5s and the different coin 10s, so they all share the same array. It's still going to get a little bit annoying to have to remember which one gets which. And so what we can do is we can actually define some data in our code that's going to, it's going to be a new asset, a scriptable object, that's going to actually store those configurations for us. So maybe the easiest way is just to start trying it. So let's go to scripts and make a new folder. I'm going to call this scriptable objects. And let's open up that folder and we'll make a new C# script. I'm going to call this coin sound effects, and then I want to call it a scriptable object. So I'll put _SO just to say that this right here is a scriptable object. And let's open up this code. Okay, and instead of a mono behavior, what I'm writing is a scriptable object. So again, this is a data container. And it's going to just store specific sound effects that I want to be able to move around as data instead of having it be stored in the inspector. So what this looks like is I'm just going to write, I'll make it public for now. I think public is okay for a scriptable object because we never really write to scriptable objects. So there are some situations where you could or you might want to, but in our use case, we're using them very simply. We're just going to use them as data containers. So I'll make it public and we won't write to it. And we'll make it a public array of audio clips. And I'll call this audio clip array. Just like that. So this right here is our scriptable object. And we actually have to add an attribute at the very top that allows us to create it, because we're going to create it in our assets folder using a menu. So you just go create asset menu with 2 parentheses and the whole thing in square brackets. And so this create asset menu allows us to actually create a scriptable object in our folder. So let's see how we do that. Let's go to our assets folder. Actually, I'll go back to my scriptable objects folder. Now here's where we define the scriptable object. But now what I can do is right click, go to create, and we have this new scriptable object here. Now if you're using Unity 6, this may have moved, but it's going to be somewhere in your create menu. You're going to have the scriptable object option. So click on this, this asset here, or this option, and we can create a new scriptable object. So I'm going to call this the coin -5SO. And I'll just right click and make another one. And I'll call this the coin -10SO. Now double click on the coin -5SO and you get this audio clip array up here. And this right here is an asset. So this is not in the scene at all. It's just an asset in your folder. Let me lock the inspector again. Go back to our audio. And let me drag the first 3. Once again, I shouldn't have added these empty ones in here. Let's take those away. And drag these first 3 and drop them in audio clip array. So there's the 3 audio clips that are part of the coin -5SO. Now if I go back to coin 10 SO, remember to unlock the inspector, so we see the coin 10 SO and lock it again. Okay, and we'll go back to our audio, and we'll take the final 3 and add those in to this audio clip array. So what we have right now is in our assets folder, we have these configurations. Let's unlock the inspector again. Right, we have coin-5 is these 3 audio clips, and coin-10 is these 3 audio clips. And what I can do is I can actually add these to scripts. I can put these in as fields here in some objects. So for example, in coin 5, I can make sure every coin 5 has access to this scriptable object, and that way it knows that's these those are these 3 audio clips that it should play. Now the other benefit of scriptable objects here is actually that these 3 audio clips are only stored in these 3 spots here. So this audio clip array, these 3 audio clips are stored in this actual asset in the assets folder, where you can compare that to this prefab, where every prefab actually has these 3 audio clips. And then multiply that by 20 or 100 or 1,000 prefabs, and suddenly we have a lot of duplicated data, or at least duplicated references. And so scriptable objects help us centralize that data, so we just have one copy instead of having many copies of duplicate data that's never going to change. Okay, so we've created our coin scriptable objects, these 2. Now what I would like to do is actually use these. So let's go to prefabs and go to this coin, this parent prefab, and I'm going to actually clear out this audio clip array. I don't want to get confused there with the parent. I don't want that to override anything in the children. So let's make sure that's empty. I'll go to my coin 5, and let's actually add, well, I'm not going to add audio clips here actually. So let's go to the coin script. Right, instead of having an audio clip array, what I'm actually going to have is I'm going to have whatever this was called is coin SFX SO. So that's going to be coin SFX underscore SO. So I'll call this a coin sound effects a scriptable object like that. Okay, so here's my coin sound effects scriptable object. And what I can do, so I'll save that, okay. Now what I can do is when I'm editing my coin-5 prefab, so I can make sure I'm editing that one. There we go. And I can actually go and, doesn't seem to have reset. Let's go edit it again. Yes, and I realize now in our coin script we have 2 errors down here as well. So not only do we need to take away audio clip array here at the top, but we also need to go down and we'll just comment out this code to play a random sound. So anything that's related to do with the sound, we'll just comment that out for now. And now we can see how this serialized field with this scriptable object, we can see what that looks like in the editor. Okay, so if we go to our prefab, and I'm going to go to the coin and just make sure that the coin doesn't have one of these scriptable objects here, because we're not actually putting any coins directly in our scene. We're just putting these coin variants. So here I'll make sure that for this coin-5, I give it the coin-5 scriptable object. And so we'll save that. And we can even go here. Notice this coin script was modified, it has this bold here. I can click on these 3 dots here, go to modified component, and I could apply it to the prefab called coin, and that would apply it to the parent. So I don't want to apply it to the parent, I'll just leave it, but that's kind of what that bold there means in a prefab. Okay, and then I will also go to coin-10, the prefab. I'll lock the inspector here so I can click away, and I'll find the coin-10 scriptable object. Okay, and remember the coin-10 scriptable object, if I unlock the inspector, right, that one here has these 3, and the coin dash 5 has these other 3. So there's 3 different clips for the 5s and for the 10s. Okay, and just for the visual sake, I'll just make sure I actually modify the material as well, so just so it's clear which one is which. So I'll duplicate this one. I'll say this is material for the 10 coin. I'll make this one a little bit darker, maybe a little bit darker. I'll make it red just to be really clear. Okay, and I'll make sure that the coin dash 10 actually gets this this 10 material. Okay, and now in our code, when we want to actually play from this scriptable object, well, all we have to do is reach into the scriptable object and get this audio clip array. And so where we have this comment from before, because we can no longer access audio clip array, well, we're just going to put coin sound effects scriptable object dot audio clip array. And same thing for here. Audio clip array is going to be this coin sound effects scriptable object dot audio clip array. Audio source should work with the audio clip, and destroy should work for the audio clip. So now we have 2 different sets of audio clips. We have an audio clip array for the 5 type of coin and for the 10 type of coin. And we'll see here this one uses the 5 scriptable object. This one uses the 10 scriptable object. So let's just try that, and we should see those are all those ones, and we should see 3 different sounds if we hit the yellow ones. So I think those are different sounds. I think that's working. You can test it out, just continue to test it to make sure it's working, but it should be. So your challenge is to create different scriptable objects for the different types of coins, and you could even make one for different types of obstacles if you wanted as well. And make sure that the different types of coins are actually playing different sound effects, and same for the obstacles as well. So that's an introduction to scriptable objects. They can be very useful when there's lots of data in our programs to keep track of. For now, I'll leave this video here. I will let you complete the challenge, and we will see you in the next video.